Hello and welcome back to the Third Degree Kitchen. I am Sam Caterer and this is Third Degree Food. We are fully in the swing of things right now, and today we are going to be putting across one of the best, if not the best, ice creams in the world, and it was created right here in our very own Third Degree Kitchen. What is it, I hear you ask? Well, maple butter pecan crunch, to name the name. It is absolutely off the chart and I guarantee you will love this at home. And as per usual, we simplify things here, right here in the Third Degree Kitchen. And I'm going to run you through the ingredients right now. So what we have here is 4 eggs. We're going to extract the egg yolks from them. We're going to keep the egg whites and make a pavlova later on. There is no sugar at all in this ice cream, just so you know. So it's more or less healthy, if I can say that. We substitute the sugar for organic maple syrup. And then we have some organic milk, 300 ml, 600 ml of organic double cream. And that's about it. We do need some vanilla essence as well, which I will get very shortly. But yeah, let's crack on, shall we? Pardon the pun. Right, let's get involved. So we take the eggs. We drop the whites in the cup. And we use the yolk. I'm going to go through the whole process. I could have done these eggs earlier, but I want you to see the whole process. It can be fiddly, but it can be done. I'm no qualified chef. I'm a cook that likes to invent some incredible food. I try something once, try and reinvent it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but this, honestly, in my opinion, is the best ice cream you can put your lips around. It's absolutely gorgeous and it's very special. The whole family loves it. We don't really let the kids eat it because it's too good. Anyway, onwards with the eggs. I will stop it with the egg puns, but it is a cracking ice cream. Comment down below. Please like and subscribe to our channel if you're feeling the vibe, or if you like ice cream. I mean, who doesn't like ice cream? So there's no excuse. Give us a little follow, give us a little share. Right here at the Third Degree Kitchen, we can do with all the help we need. But remember, we are doing this for simplicity and purely for the love of what is going on. So we've got in here 4 egg yolks, and we are going to incorporate that with a good splash of organic maple syrup. This is my preferred one. I've gone through many of them. A lot of them are bitter. A lot of them are too sticky. They're a bit, yeah, sweet in places. But the Buckwild organic maple syrup is definitely up there for me. So we put a decent glug in the bowl with the eggs. I'll leave the lid off. We'll need to incorporate that very shortly. And just as per normal, we'll just give it a little whisk. We'll incorporate the maple with the eggs. It just helps it bind and it creates a kind of viscous, eggy addition. Because we're going to have to cook the milk and the cream, or warm the milk and the cream, in order to get to around sort of 60, 70 degrees. And then we're going to incorporate the eggs, and then we need to pasteurize for about 8 to 10 minutes around that sort of temperature as well, because pasteurization is a very important part of keeping the ice cream healthy, but also it's necessary because you need to cook to make it a thicker custard base. Anyway, so we got our eggs done, and now I'm going to add to the pan the milk first. I explained in the previous video that if you add the if you add the cream first, it usually sits on the bottom and it can sort of get a bit bubbly and what have you if you're not 100% watching it. So I add the milk first. It just creates a little barrier. So in with the cream. Always absolutely banging. Then we go we go in with the vanilla. A good glug of that. and the rest of the maple syrup. We're good. Okay, now we're going to take this over to the stove. I'm going to warm it through, and then we're going to add it to our beautiful egg mix. So we want to start to warm it through nice and gently. We don't want to over-stimulate the fluid. Keep it nice and cool. It is ice cream after all. Just incorporate that maple syrup. You see, it's already got a beautiful tan, beigey colour. Now we are going to be adding the maple butter pecan crunch element to this, which is a little bit of a secret recipe, which I'm more than happy to put across. So we're going to bring that to the warm. The next elements are going to be pecans, which are cooked in the oven, or toasted in the oven, I should say, covered in a salted butter and a sprinkle of Portuguese sea salt over the top. You can use other salts, but the Portuguese flor de mar is absolutely incredible. It just gives it a real... Alternatively, you could use rendered bacon fat. It adds a real nice saltiness, and it doesn't taste the bacon. You might think it's a bit wrong, but actually it carries really nicely over the pecans through to the maple, the whole Canadian breakfast kind of thing. And then the secret surprise is the crunch. I will come on to that later on in the video, but it's well worth finding out what the crunch is, and yeah, all will be revealed. Anyway, back to the mix on the stove. Just get this nice and warm. Keep it moving. What is very important is the thermometer. You need to know that your mix is above 65 degrees. There is no set time you should add it to the eggs, but you do need to cook the eggs once they're in the mixture for a good period of time, just to eradicate any chance of salmonella or bacteria kind of thing. Not that you ever would have that, as I said in the previous video, but it's good to be safe. And also, you know when your ice cream base or custard is ready to go, because it is nice and thick, and that is usually around the same sort of time it takes to cook out the eggs. Okay, so we're approaching around 55, 60 degrees, and it's nearly time to bring the mixture from the hob to the eggs and incorporate them both together and start thickening this delicious ice cream. Back to the stove. Okay. Just getting this temperature up. See, we're rolling around 56, 57. I think we can incorporate it around 65, 70. Here we go. Yeah, around the right place. 70 degrees, okay. Just give that a little stir and turn that down. Now's the best bit. So what we want to do is incorporate about half the mixture into the eggs. And because it's not boiling, you're not going to get scrambled eggs. It's just really, just see that just there, it just changes from a pale tan to a vivid colour. Then what you do is you add this back into the mix. Now I always like to do this twice, just to make sure you get any residual left. Ooh, a little bit keen there, Sam. Make sure you get all the residual into the pan. Okay, we'll pour this back in. Now we are going to strain this before we put this into the tin. Keep that moving. And return to the stove to put some warmth through that so it starts to thicken. Now this is the process of pasteurization. You need to constantly move the mix, and you will see that it will beautifully thicken up. activate those eggs into a thicker being. You are going to need a tin in order to store your maple elixir in. And you'll need to do this straight after you've taken it off the stove. You sieve it into here and you transfer it rapidly into a fridge and to cool as quick as you can, because this is, again, a very important part of the pasteurization process. I will explain as I'm doing that later on. So back to the stove. We've got to make sure this is moving still. We don't want it to get too hot. We don't want it to thicken too quickly. It's thickening nicely though, look, that's incredible. Like I say, this is possibly, in my opinion anyway, the best ice cream in the world. Remember, as explained earlier, you are going to have to rapidly cool your ice cream after you put it into the tin. And the best way to do that is to put it at the bottom of the fridge, because that is the coolest. And also to remember to place a tea towel underneath the tin, because this is going to be quite hot and you don't want to damage your fridge. It can be very expensive in order to, if you do that. So just place this in the bottom of the fridge, take out one of the vegetable drawers, if you've got no vegetables in there. Oh, this is incredible. We are ready. We are ready. It's nice and thick now. So what we're going to do, I'll keep this in hand because I need to scrape any of the thickened mixture. That's gorgeous. Next, we're going to toast our pecans and create our crunch for when we're ready to churn. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to transfer this to the fridge. If I can close that. There we go. It's very hot, so be very careful. Don't burn your fingers. In you go. Next step, we're going to toast our pecans. So we are back, and now it is time to implement our amazing fillings for our maple salted butter pecan crunch ice cream. As I said before, the best ice cream in the whole world, made by us right here at Third Degree Food. So what we have here is the ingredients to go in, starting off with our pecans, beautiful, almost juicy, very nutty pecans. We got some butter, and we got some Portuguese flor de sal, which is a very, very, very unique and amazing tasting salt. And then finally our secret ingredient, which I'll come back to very shortly. So we have our pecans here, which are absolutely lovely. They're not waxy, they're very fresh. And all you do is you just crumble these onto a small baking tray. The secret of your ingredients really is not to do too many. You want to just literally tantalize the people with, or your guests with just a little bit of amazingness, so they want more. Leave them wanting more, is what I say. So once we have this, we're going to add some butter on top, maybe a couple more actually. You want to preheat your oven to about 180 degrees, and these are going to go in there for about 8 minutes. So you don't want to overdo the pecans, they end up with quite a bitter taste if you do. So just get them to just going slightly toasted, just a little bit nutty brown. I think maybe one more, that will be enough right here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put the butter over the top. And what happens is with this, it melts just really nicely, and they sit in this buttery, caramelized sort of. That's perfect actually. You want it room temperature. You don't want it to be too hard, because otherwise that will slow down the cooking time. Okay, let's move that over here. Just a couple of knobs of butter will do. And then we go in with the salt. Not too much because you're using salted butter. Just a little sprinkle. Just to give it that tiny little edge. As I said, you can use bacon fat, which covers all these bases and gives a completely different level of flavour. So what we're going to do now is pop this in the oven for 8 minutes, and then we'll be back to sort out the secret ingredient. So just put it on for 8 minutes. So, as mentioned earlier, we have a secret ingredient for our maple salted butter pecan crunch. And these come in the shape and form of Werther's Originals. Shh, don't tell anyone. But these make an incredible addition and a real nice little surprise to anyone that's eating. So what we need to do is just crunch them, literally. That's where the name comes from. And just little bite-sized or nibble-sized pieces. You don't have to be too precise. But these just add that bang for your buck when you finish the ice cream and you churn. We're going to be churning next. So don't go anywhere. It's the next part of the amazing process of making this incredible ice cream. Something around those sort of sizes, you know. Okay, it's got a couple more to do. As I said, you don't want to overfill your ice cream. You want the main body of the ice cream to do the talking, and these bits to be the wow factor. Leave them wanting more is my motto. Remember, you can catch us on all the social networks. Go to thirddegreefood.com. All the links are there, from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and of course our merchandise store as well. Right, we're nearly done here. Just roughly cut. I mean, they just sit in the ice cream beautifully when it comes to churn. Now you want to keep these in the fridge so they don't become gooey at room temperature. You want to still retain that crunch. There, a second. Okay, that's good. Okay, we'll put these in the fridge, and when we're ready to churn, we will take these out. So this is what you want to be happening in the oven. Just starting to caramelize here on the tray. Just nice, giving it a bit of a move around. Get them all coated in that butter and salt. So our pecans are nicely toasted, and I've taken them from the oven and just chilled them in the fridge just for a little bit, along with the secret ingredient, the Werther's Originals. And of course, our ice cream mixture has been chilling in the fridge overnight. So the next process is to start the churn, or third degree churn as we like to call it here. And we're going to use this piece of equipment, which is tried and tested, one of my old favorites. It's just above entry level ice cream maker. It's a Cuisinart. We do have a couple of other ones, a couple of higher spec, but we want to really show how simply you can recreate this recipe without all the whistles and bells and crazy gadgets. So this has a frozen cylinder, as I say, been chilling in the freezer for 24 hours. It has a churn attachment which aerates and gives volume to the ice cream itself. So let's get the ingredients out, and then we'll get out the cylinder. First of all, our secret ingredient. They're nice and crunchy. Then we have our beautifully toasted pecans. And then finally, and most importantly, we have the ice cream mixture. Now, what we're going to need to do is take the cylinder, which has been chilling literally in the freezer for the last 24 hours, and place it in the machine, just like so. Then you place your aerator. This is honestly one of the best machines I have ever used to recreate ice cream. So we're ready to go on that front. We need to give this a little stir before we put it into the ice cream. It's lovely consistency. perfect for our purposes today. Okay, so we're going to start the machine. And get ready to pour our ice cream in. All of that goes in there. Really nicely. So we're going to churn that for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to add our ingredients for the last 2 or 3 minutes of the churn. So we'll be back very shortly. As you can hear, now the machine is starting to struggle to move the frozen ice cream mixture around the cylinder, which means only one thing: it is time to add our delicious additions. First of all, we have these beautifully salted butter pecans, which have been toasted perfectly, and then we also have our very special secret ingredient, our Werther's Original, cut into very small chunks. So first to add, always add your nuts, because they get nicely mixed throughout the whole ice cream. So we're going to go in with these. We'll tip these in nicely. They get mashed around by the mechanism inside, so it distributes them relatively randomly through the machine. Last little bits in there. Oh, sticky. Oh, we get that later, I think. We'll let that work its magic for a couple of seconds. And now we're going to add the pièce de résistance. Just tickle these in there. They again will find a random place within the ice cream. And you'll hear the machine now really working. It's starting to really push around and mix our ingredients well into the ice cream itself. So we'll have a couple more seconds of this. You don't want to churn too much with the additional ingredients in them. Okay, I think that is about it. So, place that over here. One thing you will need, as per a previous video of mine, you will need a spoon and you'll need a bowl, because you'll need to transfer all of this and not make a mess of your work surface. So out we come with the mix. So I'll put that just over there for now. And you scrape all of this off into the bowl. A little sucker there. Rotate it and clean the other back side of it. Cool. Okay, and we'll place this in here. And we'll come back to that to get the rest of it later. Next, we have our mixture, which we just pour liberally into the bowl. Okay. You will make a mess first time you make ice cream. So now we need to scoop the rest of this stuff out. Into the dish that it's going to spend the next couple of hours in. Knowing this lot in this house, it will be disappeared before I even get a cone, but still, that's the sign of a good ice cream. Let's get this in there, the last little remnants. Scrape all that out. You get a little method going, and then you have a little way of doing things, and it works for you. If it works for you, it works for you. Have the last little bits on there. Okay. I'll place that in the sink. And then just finish it off with that. Okay, great. Then we're going to place the lid on it before we put it in the freezer. And then we are good to go. So that's about it for the next 6 hours. And then we have the moment of truth, the big reveal, the pièce de résistance, the tasting of the incredible maple salted butter pecan crunch. Back after this. So it's been about 6 hours since we put this bad boy into the deep freeze. As you may have noticed, I've got a slightly different coloured apron on. That is because, as mentioned before, making ice cream can be a little bit messy. Always make sure you've got a tea towel and a damp cloth hanging around. Otherwise, you'll have to use your apron before you make a mess on the floor. Anyway, without further ado, let's crack into it and sample our maple salted butter pecan crunch. In my opinion, certainly the most incredible ice cream in the world. And it's made right here on Third Degree Food. Okay, let's get into it. The first delicious scoop out of the tin. There we go. Beautiful, delicious ice cream. Always remember not to press too hard on the cone. There we go. So there we have it. Maple salted butter pecan crunch. The best ice cream in the world. It just puts a smile on your face. What can I say? Outrageous. Outrageous. Remember, the recipe is fully available on our website, thirddegreefood.com, and you can check it right here. I've been Sam Caterer. This has been Third Degree Food. This is the Third Degree Kitchen. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.